Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Had a little bit of time here, so I figured I'd give you all a status update on the bending water test. The I'm also expecting Geo to be in here in a minute, and also Sean's going to be coming in, so we'll be able to talk this out and have some discussion. Now, first a little update here. I was actually looking at doing the test this Friday. But sometimes I get a little bit optimistic when it comes down to German weather. Um, anybody, what's up? What's up there, Gio?
Hey Sly, I'm fine. How are you?
All right. Gio can also probably attest to this, and also Surf Puzzle, that weather in Germany is beyond tomorrow is almost impossible to predict.
Yeah, especially in early spring, like April, May. That's the worst time.
Right. Now, all of last week was perfect, but unfortunately I was on shift. So so that just kind of sucked. But the whole time I'm looking at weather reports and weather forecasts and stuff like that, and it looked like that it was going to be awesome for this coming Friday. And because it was promising, Thursday it was supposed to rain, and Friday it was supposed to be just cloudy and crummy, a little warmer, but just cloudy and crummy, which is exactly the day that I need for this. Well, and I even put that out to a couple of people yesterday that hey, I'm looking at Friday. Well, I look at the weather today, and Friday is going to be probably the best day of all of next week for people who like to go out to the beach.
Yeah, that's probably way too sunny.
Yeah, I mean it's just completely sunny through. Now, one thing that people need to understand, I can still perform this test on a sunny day. The method that I have for aligning the markers is using whether or not you could see a light or not, which will actually not be affected by that. It just sucks when it comes down to doing the end photography. And so the problem that I'm going to have here is that I would have to actually set up the test and then wait and hope that around sundown that the visibility clears up a little bit, which just that's a big gamble given that much work. And but like I said, last week it was showing that Thursday was supposed to rain, and Friday it was just going to be it was cloudy all the way through. And well, unfortunately, that's not the case anymore. So yeah, I just had to. So I'm calling that off. And plus, there was also a couple of people, including Gio, who Friday is a holiday, and a lot of folks are going to be busy with family, enjoying the holiday together.
Yeah,
So,
I'll spend pretty much the week from next Wednesday to the Tuesday after that at my grandparents', which is on the other end of the country. I won't be available during that time period, unfortunately.
And I'm really trying to have Gio there because Gio, I need somebody to blame if it doesn't go right because he's going to pick the location. But I got to blame somebody, man.
Blame the weatherman.
Which
is definitely not Mr. Thrive and Survive.
No, definitely not. Yes, do not trust a flat Earth weatherman. But so, like I said, Friday is not going to happen. And as you saw from the weather there, pretty much the whole week is not going to happen, and which really sucks because I have this week off. But because of shift work, but the week after that will not happen because I'm back on shift again. The way we do our shift blocks is basically a week on, week off, week on, week off for basically a whole 4-week period. So the next opportunity that I'm going to have to do this is going to be after next week. So it looks like we might be talking about the first week of May. Here's the beautiful part about all this, though, guys. This test, and the funding that went to it, and the purchase of the equipment, and all the stuff that I have going on. This is not a test that is anchored to a specific day or date. It's not like we have to observe. We're hoping for good weather to watch the eclipse or anything like that. We're not trying to go anywhere for a specific event. The equipment is all here. I have it all. It's all just a matter now of getting a date to actually perform the test. So, it's just basically it sits in hover until I can actually get it knocked out. Now, I wanted to share a couple of things with you. to include the most recent version of how the test is going to be performed, and a couple of short little photos that I took the other day. The reason why I want to do this is because there's been a lot of great suggestions and a lot of great ideas that have come from the people who have been following this test, and I'm going to also show the ideas that I have actually incorporated into the test. I'm trying not to incorporate every single idea, as great as they might be, because honestly, if I were to incorporate every idea, we would be out there for a week. And I mean, that's just being honest. So let's see here. Where is that how I do it? Yeah, that's how I do it. And then I can minimize that so I can actually see when people have comments. All right. So first thing I want to show you is the, nobody ever talks about how much fun it isn't to create all this stuff, put all this stuff together and stuff. The other day, I was actually complaining to Sean in a back chat about the fact that my hands were hurting because of building the upright pipes.
Now, how much time did you spend doing this?
Oh, this was an all-day event basically, and now this picture is actually before I lined up the zip ties. The zip ties are all at 3 even heights now, not for any other purpose than just to make it look nice. Now what I had to do there. It's the plastic tubes. Now, the problem that I had to address was how am I going to get the plastic tubes to stay to the aluminum tubes that I have holding them up? And now I wanted to use zip ties, obviously, because that's the most secure and it has the least possibility that it's going to fall out. But the problem you run into is to get it to grip on there, you really have to pull them tight. And I don't want to pull on the tubes. I don't want to squeeze on the tubes too hard, because it basically it's going to choke the tubes and interrupt a little bit of flow, if not completely cut it off. So what I came up with is at the top of the aluminum tubes, I mean these are cylinders, is I made these little coat hanger hooks, and then I taped them into place. They're actually hooked into the top of the aluminum tubes. Then I put a piece of duct tape around the top so they just remain stable. And in the top of the tubes themselves, the plastic tubes, I drilled a little hole and then have them hanging on there. That keeps them held up along with the aluminum tubes. And then the zip ties are basically just to hold it snug against the upright pipes. And that was the best solution that I could come up with without trying to get into much more creative and strange things. These right here, you can see along the tops here, they're all multicolored. That was just because I wanted to buy a pack of them and I couldn't get them all like in black. But I guess the colors will probably help me out during the setup if I need to identify a certain tube that's giving me an issue. These are those microphone sponges, and they're just put over the top and a rubber band put around the outside so that to block wind going in and out of the tubes. But yet by leaving them completely breathable so that the water can equalize without any resistance from air pressure. So, and this right here, this took me a whole evening doing this because, these things are only about maybe 3 inches, 2 inches long. So bending them that small and all that, making all that work, that just really kind of sucked. But nevertheless, I got them. That's all 17 tubes. Those are going to be the uprights for the entire test. What do you call it? Now, something that I have added, and this has been a really difficult question that I've been trying to figure out a solution to, and I think I found a solution, is when it comes to bubbles and filling. Now, originally, I had planned out that filling the tubes was going to take an hour and a half. That was what I had originally slotted it for. Once I got the tubes and I was actually able to, put one in my bathtub, find out, which system works the best for filling them. The gravity technique, as fine as that is, takes forever. It literally does. And to get one tube done, I think it took me about 7 to 8 minutes just to gravity feed one tube, and which puts me well outside of the time frame that I was hoping for on the filling. So here's what I've come up with. I am actually going to fill all tubes meaning the ground tubes and the upright tubes, I'm going to fill all of those the day prior. I have made an adapter for the ground tubes that I can actually put it onto a garden hose spigot and actually pump them or fill them up that way. So that's what's going to happen with those, and that way I can lay out the tubes, I can look over each one of them, inspect each one of them, and make sure that those tubes have no bubbles and it's end-to-end water. And I have these little, I think I talked about this before. I have these little wrist rocket BBs that fit perfectly inside of each end and block it off, so I can actually transport filled tubes. Now, the tall tubes, the upright tubes, they are also going to be filled, but only filled up about 3/4 of the way. The reason why is because I'm hoping for them to be about the water levels that are going to be measured to be about halfway up. I am going to use, I'm going to put the little BB stoppers on the ends where the T connectors are, and then in the top, I'm actually going to use a balloon. I have this little balloon pump that I found in a dollar, well, the equivalent of a dollar store here, that I could put a balloon up in here in the top below this drilled hole, and then put air in it, or actually I think I'm going to put water in it, and it'll act as a cork to keep the water in there that's in there, kind of like putting your finger on top of a straw when you pull soda out of a cup. And now this right is going to actually save an incredible amount of time out on site. Now, the biggest problem that I had then was, what am I going to do about connecting these things, because they're all going to be filled with water. And the simplest method I came up with is just real easy here. All the connections are actually going to occur, as in me pulling the stoppers off and connecting the pipes up, in a bucket of water. Now, what that's going to do is that's going to stop the possibility of air getting into the new air getting into the system, and then I can but the water will still all remain in place, and we can just move on to the next pipe. Pretty simple. That was what I came up with. I talked with a couple of people about it. Not everybody's thrilled with that idea, but that's the best way that I found that I can actually get this entire thing accomplished within a reasonable amount of time.
One question, Sly.
What's that? Hey, Sean.
Hi. This whole process depends on siphoning effects. How are you going to prevent the siphoning from happening in that upright water tube, connection thing?
Speed. No, I mean, I understand completely what you're saying. In other words, once I pull them stoppers off, this guy is going to go down.
Right.
And what do you call it? And I totally get that. That's why I'm going to have it about 2/3 up, but I only want them to be about halfway up, when I do the test. So it's basically, you're basically just pulling a little stopper off of this and or off of the ground tube, and then when you're ready on the T connector, just pull the stopper off and connect it.
I was just making sure that you were aware of a slight issue. So yeah. I agree with the setup.
I guess the best idea is just to keep the balloon you were talking about on the top on until all connections are actually made.
Right, but
like there shouldn't actually be a siphoning effect.
Right, but just in case there is a little bit of air, that gets pulled through that balloon idea, because I have yet to test that. I don't know if that's a solid solution. What do you call it? As far as transporting the upright tubes with water in them, I might have to actually bottle them in. You know what I'm saying? Go over to that little stream, pull up some water and fill it in. So, like I said, the balloon thing is still I have not yet tested that. But nevertheless, if I do all this inside of a bucket, then that will prohibit the introduction of new air into the system, and then therefore the ground tubes will be completely free of any and all air, and which is the ultimate goal. Because if I get a bubble in there, as far as a show-stopping bubble, one that's the size of the interior of the tube, then that's gonna have serious effects on the entire test.
Right.
But little wall bubbles and stuff like that, they ain't gonna hurt nothing. That's just gonna happen.
Yeah, wall bubbles are gonna be unavoidable. I was actually gonna ask about that, because just water has air in it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and then me having them out there in the sun or in the warmth, or even changing elevations, which I will be when I drive them from point A to point B, is going to introduce those small little wall bubbles. But wall bubbles, while they might have a little bit of influence on the speed of water going through it, they're not showstoppers.
Right.
So and then so that was a big update that I wanted to make sure that I got out, because that's exactly how I'm going to make that happen. What do you call it? So I'm going to go down the whole process, because there's some people who just don't get it. But I'm going to go down. Last night when I was on shift, I had a little bit of time, so I just kind of whipped all this together to show exactly what it is that's being done, including the newer updates that other people have introduced. So, first thing, all tubes are going to be laid out and connected in the method that I just said. I'm going to be bucketing each one of them. What do you call it? The ground tubes will be filled before they even make it out to the site. So I'm going to have those all in and all laid down on the ground. Pretty simple. Then what I'm going to do is tube 16 is going to be set upright. And then over at tube 0, the closest tube, I'm going to put the marking stake in. The reason why we lay this out instead of putting the marking stakes need to be next to where the tubes are, so we got to lay out the tubes before we can know where to put the marking stakes as far as their distance from each other. At tube 0, I'm going to put the marking stake in, and then I'm going to line up horizontally the camera so that the marking stake lines up with tube 16. And then the process that I've developed for walking them out, which is basically going to be using a big board with a big white triangle on it, is going to be an arrow pointing down at the ground that will make it even that much easier to line up the rest of the stakes along that same path. And then what do you call it? And then so once all those are in place, then all the tubes will be put up on those stakes. Because that's the way I have it right now. The stakes themselves, the marking stakes, are small enough to go into the aluminum tubes that have the upright poles. So you just basically socket it right onto the top of it. And so that's how that's going to happen. What do you call it? And then we're going to break for lunch. Pizza for everybody. What do you call it? And we're going to let that sit for at least a good hour. To let everything equalize as much as it needs to. I mean, over an hour is more than enough time for this system, I believe, to equal out. Then once we get there, now this is the part that our buddy PW lied about. But so I figured I'd draw it out very, very simply and graphically. Okay, so now it's time to line up the markers. What's going to happen is, first, I'm along that pipeline. I'm going to set up the camera and raise and lower it until I have a line of sight between the marker light, which is going to be 1 centimeter below the water at post 16, and a marking that I'm going to make here on post 0. That's going to be the line. It's not going to be down here. It's not going to be up here. It's going to be lined up with post 0 and post 16. That's going to be the lineup. And I'll be able to see that marking light, and that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to be eclipsing that light on every post and putting up the next markers. Now, each one of the marks, or each one of the marking clips, I'm going to clip it on until we get the eclipse, mark it, and then take the clip back off. Reason why is because obviously we need to be able to see the light again for the next tube and every tube thereafter until I get all the way up to tube 0. Once all those marks are made, then all of those clips will be put back into place for the visual. Okay, it's pretty simple. And then after that, 15 centimeters above each one, it's just going to be a mechanical measurement, a physical measurement. 15 centimeters above each one is going to be the top row. The purpose of having this is to have a parallel line, 2 parallel lines, excuse me, going down the length of the length of the test. That is so that when I lift the camera up or move the camera or show the camera in any other direction, we know that those lines are parallel. So therefore, there can't be any discussion of, oh, it bends due to distance or anything weird like that. Okay? Pretty simple stuff. And then I'm going to put a marker at each water level. And so from that, I will be doing at least 6 shots in that from that original observation point here. At least 6 shots I'm going to make. I haven't decided whether I'm going to do a video. I might end up doing that as well. But currently, right now, we're looking to get 6 photographs. The 6 photographs are going to be 1 photograph along even with the bottom line, and then 1 photograph offset slightly to the left, as you can see here in what would be the sample image, offset to the left so I can see the entire stretch in line. Okay. Then I'm going to raise the camera up to being between the top row and the bottom row, meaning that along the water lines. And then at the same time, I'm also going to do another shot slightly offset to that. And then I'm going to raise the camera up one more time to the top line. And then I'm going to make that shot and then also one off to the left. All 6 of those shots are basically going to be the initial results of the test. But we're not going to be done there, thanks to suggestions from other people. Okay.
You're welcome.
Another thing that's going to happen is at that point, I'm going to, with my smaller camera, because I have a gimbal for it, I am going to do the walk the line. And so walking the line is going to be very simple. I'm going to go to each post, do a wind, temperature, and pressure and ruler reading at each pipe. Pretty simple. And I'm going to be filming this uninterrupted the entire length of the test and during each reading. I'm also going to be showing the ground pipes and the upright pipes so that everybody can inspect that nothing is, there's no bubbles, there's no blockage, there's no anything like that. So that's the whole purpose of doing the walk test. Now, while I'm walking all the way down there, I am going to take the 1000 with me. And what I'm going to do is from the 1000, I am going to put it 100 meters beyond the test. And just like as if it was 100 meters before the test, now it's going to be 100 meters beyond the test. And I'm going to repeat the process of making the 6 photos, which is 1 at the bottom level and then 1 slightly off to, in this case, the right. Then 1 in the middle level and then a little bit off to the right. And 1 at the top level and a little bit off to the right. I heard everybody's request for that, and I'm going to do that. It's no problem. And I personally, I think I might, even if I was watching this test from somebody else, I might also want that as well. So, you know, I had no problem incorporating that into that. Then I'm going to make the worthless photo, which is I am going to put up my my Mavic Pro. I'm going to fly down the whole line of the track first, and then back out far enough, which is going to be over a kilometer.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah. Well, it looks like it's possible. It's going to be backed up over a kilometer to get the entire test track from the side. So, okay. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, if anybody is expecting anything out of that, don't hold your breath. But this is a demand from people like Bob and PW. And I'm sure others have probably said it in various other forms. Okay,
what speed of view does your camera have on the drone?
78 degrees.
78 degrees, okay.
Yeah. So I'm only going to need to be about 1,100 meters away. But you're not going to see shit. I mean, that's a spoiler right there. You're not going to see anything that you could use. I mean, you really can't, because this distance right here is 15 centimeters. Now, if you do out the math, which it sounds like Geo's doing right now, if you do out the math, this entire 15 centimeter stretch is less than a pixel in 4K video.
Good luck.
So if you're looking for some kind of measurable arc out of this side view, have fun with it. I'll send you the raw photos. You can have all the fun with it you want. Okay. So, but nevertheless, because it's been a demand by those who don't do science and haven't done the math, I'm going to do it just because I can. Okay. So, and then one last test that was introduced or was requested and discussed is I'm going to do a 2-post laser test. Now, I'm going to explain this. With the P1000, honestly, with any camera at this point, back at the original observation point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up a laser that points this 100-meter stretch, the last 100-meter stretch. It's going to go from the water line at post 16 to the water line at post 15. Okay. I have also put together a little setup. I wish I had a photograph of it right now, but I 3D printed out 2 apertures that are going to go along a piece of aluminum tubing, which is basically going to make it so that you cannot see the diode from the laser unless you are looking basically right at it. Sure, there's a little bit of diffraction in there, but not much. These two, the 2 holes, the 2 aperture holes are 2 millimeters. So you're not going to get very much variation on that. And the reason why we're doing this is because of the fact that when I point the laser from this water level to this water level, I want to know if at the water level, or honestly, almost any point here, if you can see the laser beam. Now, Sean and Reds have already shown that you could see, a pocket laser pointer from well over a mile away with a drone.
With 0 issues.
Yeah, with absolutely no issues. And I'm not anticipating that there would be an issue on this. As a matter of fact, I could do a range test, but I really don't need to.
Okay, so the distance you need is approximately exactly 1 kilometer. Drone. And at that distance, the width of the water marking in the central pole, which will be the nearest one, will be 0.0011 degrees.
Yep.
Oh yeah, good luck with that.
But but back to this test. What basically should happen is one of 2 things. Either we will see the laser or we won't from the observation point. You'll see the glare. We won't see a point. We're not looking to shoot a point onto a target. Okay. It's just a matter of, can you see it? Now, we know that you can see the laser from that distance, but with the apertures on it, will you be able to see it pointed directly at it? That will be another indication that just another supporting portion of this to show that post 15's water level is just a little bit higher than post 16's water level. That's just basically what it is. It's an angular thing. And so if we're able to see the laser, the glare from the laser at the observation point, then that would mean that they're basically level. But as it goes, it's probably that laser is actually not going to be visible until you are about almost equal with the top of the pipe, maybe a little bit lower. And so it's pretty simple stuff after that. So I'm just making sure that we know that was also added. This was a request and also somewhat of a dare. So I'm going to make sure that I incorporate it. Now, I have not yet received the funding from Indiegogo. It has not landed at me yet. Now, given the fact that we might have to wait 2 weeks to do this test, I'm hoping to get a stronger laser, but at the same time, do I really want to be trying to blind people when I have an adequate laser here?
Remember, Sly, that the legal limit here in Germany is 5 milliwatts.
Yeah, I know.
Sounds so disappointed.
Yeah, I know. And I actually had to read up on that first to find out what was legal. Yeah. But because I'm looking at getting a Wicked laser, but hey.
Yeah, I was about to say exactly that. If I remember correctly, the strongest one they sell has 3.5 watts.
Yep. Yep. I was looking at the Arctic. The Arctic 3.5. But nevertheless, that part's going to happen anyway, because the laser that I currently have, the one that I also used before in my Flat Earth Debunked by Perspective video, where I was showing what would happen to anti-crepuscular rays if crepuscular rays were showing a near sun. I did it with a laser pointer extended out over a field, and that was the same laser pointer. And it's pretty strong, and you could see it over quite a distance. But so nevertheless, I'm going to be doing that on as well. That was also a user request. Then, of course, step 19 is going to be the breakdown. But this was also a great idea that was requested by a user, and I am definitely going to make sure that this is part of it. When I do the when all the markers are placed, there's going to be, I'm going to use a Sharpie and put a mark at where each one of them is. You'll also be able to see this in the walkthrough. I might actually do it during the walkthrough. So that when I break this all down and I bring all the parts and pieces back to the observation point and back to the car and stuff like that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down all of the upright pipes next to each other. And what you'll be able to see is the marks that were made by the Sharpie. Now, and it'll be obvious as to which one is which. Now, either it's going to be noticeably level, and you'll be able to do the measurements. I might even put a ruler down next to it so people can actually see the measurements and compare it to the notes that I did during the walkthrough. That's cool. Doesn't bother me at all. So it's either going to present a view similar to this, or a view similar to this. Now, there's one other thing that I have to make sure that I say before anybody gets on me about this. I want to make sure I get this out of the way. The terrain out there is not perfectly level. So it's actually going to look more like this when I bring the pipes back. Okay, all the pipes will be at different heights per the height that they were at their location, but you'll be able to get the parallel line, the two parallel lines lined up. This will also be able to be a good indication of what the terrain features actually were. And then once you get the parallel lines lined up, then obviously you'll be able to see what was going on in the middle. This is more of what it's actually going to look like. Because the pipe heads will be at different spots because the pipe bottoms were at different spots as far as their elevation. The terrain out there it's got a little bit of hillage to it, but very minor stuff. So it's going to not look much more extreme than what I have here in this picture. So now, one thing I also wanted to go over is the photography goals, okay, of this entire thing. Number one, a GoPro is going to be set up at the OP. Once the OP is actually set up, this will shoot a time lapse of the entire day right there at the observation point. I'm also going to I have a big clock that I'm going to put there on a table so that people can keep track of the timing of the events. Number two, some but not all of the alignment stakes will be filmed during the alignment process. But the alignment stakes, once they're all in place, will be filmed. The reason why this is because I have two batteries for the P1000. And if you do any reviews on P1000, the number one complaint is the batteries don't hold long. So what I want to make sure that I have that I'm able to do is film the important stuff, because obviously if you want to watch me do all the individual alignment stakes and all the individual markers and stuff, that's that's a point to be argued. But as soon as I'm able to show the end of them, the end result of it, then that should more than suffice for that. So that's also 4 and 5. It's the same problem with the vertical alignment markers. The walk the line is going to be filmed with my Panasonic camera and not the P1000. The reason for this is because of the fact that the battery and saving capacity, as well as I have a gimbal. I have a 3-axis gimbal that I can use with my smaller camera, which films in full HD anyway, and I can have a nice smooth walk of the entire test track, so that nobody's saying that my video was deliberately shaky or something like that, as not to show whatever secret devices I might stick into this test. And because I'm not even going to go into that. But what do you call it? The drone footage will be shot first by flying the entire line, and then backing up to the distance where the whole track can be seen. I'm doing that on purpose because I want to make sure that everybody knows that what's being looked at is actually what's being filmed. As far as the entire setup, that will happen at the end after the markers are all filmed. Let's see. The laser test will be filmed with my Panasonic camera at post 15 and 16. As far as the alignment goes. And then I will be talking back to hopefully Geo or somebody, if not my boys, and who will be filming it with the P1000 at that end. That is the only time throughout this entire test period that somebody else is going to be allowed to touch the camera. The reason why that is because it is my responsibility what happens with that camera, and there are people out there who have donated money hoping to get the camera, and I need to make sure that happens. But that will be the only time that somebody else touches it. The pipe layout, the at the end pipe layout will be photographed with the P1000, and also filmed with my Panasonic camera. The raw images will be made available to anybody who wants them. I'm probably just going to put it up on a Google Drive and be done with it. Let's see. Currently, there is no live stream planned due to the location of where I'm going to be at. And also, let's be honest, Germany's not known for its high quality mobile streaming.
Actually, Sly, I might have a solution for that point.
Really?
Yeah.
What you got?
So, you guys basically know that I'm a huge nerd, right?
No, you don't say.
Never crossed my mind.
Yeah. Okay, I forgot. Well, anyway.
Might have to do with the word Streber in your name.
Yeah. That's this thing. Anyway, basically, a few friends of mine, we did a lot of LAN parties in the last 5 to 10 years.
Uh-huh.
And among the equipment that we bought to actually perform these anywhere we wanted is a router that takes a SIM card as a feeding mechanism. Like, instead of being connected to the internet through a wire, you just plug in a SIM card.
Sweet.
Now, this thing, even though it's operated via 240 volts AC, we actually happen to have let's just say battery-powered.
Because ultimately
that actually puts out 240 volts AC using a inverter.
Well,
this thing's actually mobile enough so that we could transport it to the location. It's about 10 kilograms, the entire thing.
Sweet. Well, then, if you want to put that together, man, bring it with you.
I would have to organize it first. It's currently at the house of a buddy of mine who is using it quite regularly. But yeah, I could ask him and then get it.
Well, tell your bud to bring it along, and there's pizza waiting for him. What do you call it? He can hang out for the whole day. Just bring a lawn chair. Yeah. So I mean, if that happens, but I'm still putting in pencil right now. Currently, there is no live stream planned. Just because you see all these live streams from these remote locations in the States. That's because they got it like that. Germany's not really all that high on that. Especially the location where I'm at, we're kind of a little bit of ways away from Bamberg, where probably the higher concentration of possibility would be.
Well, it's only 2 kilometers.
Yeah, but still, I'm just talking about, just because I had bad signal quality when we went out there that one day. So, like I said, just not, it's not planned. Now, what I am probably going to do is once I announce a date, a solid date that we're going to be doing this, I might just post regular updates down at the bottom of that. But I'm not 100% certain how that's going to work. So no live stream is planned at the moment. What do you call it? Like I said, the reason for the filming restrictions on items 2 and 4 is due to having only two batteries for the P1000. The reason why the walk the line video will be done with the Panasonic is because, number one, the Panasonic can be charged via USB. And so what's cool about that is I can actually hang a power bank off that and run that camera until it blows up, as long as I have the SD space. So that's why I'm going to be doing it that way. The P1000 will not afford me that opportunity.
How much SD space do you need?
I got a 64 I'm going to be putting in there. That's going to be more than enough for that walk.
Yeah, I got a few 64s as well if you need them.
Okay, well, yeah, just bring them with you just in case we need them.
Okay.
What do you call it?
The same thing applies for my action cams. I'm just going to bring them along in case they're needed.
Yep. And then, what do you call it? And also, like I said before, I have a 3-axis gimbal that's going to make it for nice, clean, and steady footage, which will not work with the P1000. This thing is not rated for that kind of weight. Let's just say it this way. My Panasonic camera weighs about a half a pound, whereas the P1000 weighs over 3 pounds. So there's a slight difference in gimbal requirements for that. Let's see. As far as visitors go, this is concrete here. Visitors will be able to watch, photograph, and film all camera views from my larger screen on my tablet at the OP. Okay, because that's how I'm going to be doing it. Instead of using the little screen on the camera, I'm going to be you can Wi-Fi it out to tablets. And so I'm going to be doing that. People can film that and do whatever they need to as long as they're not getting in the way of anything. What do you call it? Visitors will not be restricted from filming or photographing any portion of the day's events other than that which would disturb the test or personal privacy, which I will discuss with I have a plan for how to address the personal privacy issue, because I'm certain that there's some people that are actually going to be at the test that might not want their face out on YouTube or as part of this for whatever reasons. And
should I buy some like potato sacks and cut holes in them?
No, I'm not going to go to that extreme, but I came up actually with a lanyard system, and we're going to kind of do it on the honor system that we're going to, mix out people's faces who didn't want to be in there.
No, I did not bring an extra bag.
Okay. Anyway, and what do you call it? And then visitors, and I actually encourage this. Visitors are welcome to post all of their independent photos and video, but after I release my video. Okay, I have no problem with you. They can release hours of footage that they might have shot with their phone and their cameras and all this other stuff, and that's cool. Release all of that, but after I release my video. That's just my only requirement on that. You can make all the commentary you want. You can make all the critique you want. I really don't care. It's not really going to hurt it. I just want it. I would like my video to come out first. Now, as far as footage and release results, soon after the completion of the test, I will produce the primary results video and release that. After this time, all visitor footage can be released. I will then hold a hangout, which will be a discussion with friends about the test and the experience. And then during that hangout, I will be playing that entire uninterrupted walk of the pipes. Okay, the walk the line video. I'm not going to put that into the initial test results video, just because that walk is actually going to take probably about 30 to 40 minutes, if not longer. And obviously, I'm not trying to encumber the results video with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a hangout, and we're going to play that in the background. And then also, if somebody wants to critique something and say, hey, stop, go back, look at that other one or something like that, maybe we might even do that if somebody's got a question about something. It just makes it that much better for that release. And then I'll probably, depending on how that goes, I can also release other footage from the day, like the just anything else that I might have loose that I didn't put into the actual results video. And then once that's concluded, I will stop that hangout. Then I will hold a shorter hangout which I will be rolling for the new owner of Big Willie. In the next couple of days, I am going to, it might even happen today, I'm going to be sending out an email to all of those who purchased a perk. As far as purchasing it, specifically the people who purchased the large perk, the $75 one. I'm not going to be sending an email to the other guys. And the reason why I'm going to be sending that is because I didn't really define how it was that I was going to collect the names that you would like to put on your post. Okay, the people who bought the $75 perk, not only do they have tickets in the drawing for the camera, but they actually get to name one of the posts. And so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be sending you an email, and then when you what you reply to that email is actually going to be the name that I put on that post. Now, I'm not going to reserve post numbers. I'm sorry, and I'm not going to reserve post head colors. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that. At that point, it's going to be basically decided by the in numerical order from the order that you supported the test, with the exception of Bob the Science Guy and Wolfie. Bob the Science Guy said he made a video in support of this, and so I put, and he requested to be on post on the frontmost post, so he is going to be post 0, and Wolfie, through his undying support of both my channel and this test, Wolfie is going to be on post 16, which is also going to get plenty of coverage. So all the other ones are going to be done in numerical order by your contributor number that was listed in your receipt that you got via email. The email address that you put into Indiegogo, that's where I'm going to be sending this to. Please check your spam. I will list this as Sly's post naming. So check your spam in the next day or two and see if you got that, because I need you to reply to that. If not, I'm going to use the name at the top of your shipping address, and I'd rather not do that if you are not looking to have your name actually produced into the video. So this is just going to be a confirmation method so that I don't step on anybody's toes. Once again, your privacy is my concern. So obviously, I'm not going to put, Sean Hufford onto something when Sean Hufford doesn't want his name on it. If he wants his YouTube username or something like that, if he has one different than whatever his name is, I'm not going to do that. So I want to make sure that I put the name on there that you want, and it will be within acceptable usage. Okay. I'm not going to put any obscene words or anything like that on these things, lick my nuts, flat earthers, or something like that. I'm not going to do that. I'm trying to keep this safe and serious. And I don't want anybody to have anything negative to say about it once this is all done. But nevertheless, that's what I got going on, and that's what's up with the pipes. Sean, did you see the pipes all the way back at the beginning of the thing?
I did.
Pretty cool, huh?
Yep.
Do you know how much the pipes full of water will weigh, and can you transport them?
The pipes full of water, well, quite simply, we're looking at a maximum of, I think it was 95 liters of water.
Yeah, okay.
So
that's no problem. That's just one extra passenger.
That's an adult passenger. And then the pipes themselves, they don't weigh that much. I think in total they only weighed maybe about 5 kilos or about 10 kilos. So it's basically going to be the amount of an additional adult in the car, and which hopefully my car holds out.
Well, it's a 3-seater, so no.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. But so that's basically all I got going on. Now, from you two guys, at least, do you got any questions? Anything that you would like answered or addressed?
Right now, no, I don't think so.
Gio, you just need to make sure your ass is there.
Have you tested? Actually, I do got a question. Have you tested your little hook system there on the top right with water in the pipe yet?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure that the pipe wasn't actually going to vertically tear.
No. What do you call it? The pipes that I have there, they are 14 by 16, And so that means it's actually what do you call it? It's a full millimeter pipe thickness. So no, they didn't tear at all. It was hardly even noticeable that there was water in the pipes as far as weight went.
Okay.
And what do you call it? And that was also the reason. I don't know if you caught it in the beginning of the hangout. That was the reason why I went with the hook system, was because of the fact that I wanted to. I didn't want to strain the pipes by pulling the zip ties as hard as I could to keep them, upright.
Right.
Because that would actually kind of choke them off a little bit. So, let's see. Post 16 must be upside down in honor of Wolfie. You know what, Rick? That's a cool idea. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I need.
I actually know how you're going to do it.
I have an idea. I have an idea.
You need to cut a hole in the top of one of your little foam microphone thingies and slide that all the way to the bottom of the pole.
That's kind of where I was going with that. Yeah. But
you just mount the sign, which you will strap to it upside down.
That's true too. The signs, as far as the signs are going to be, the signs are actually going to be somewhat of a longer collar, similar to like a paper towel roll, and then what do you call it? And then it's going to be printed on them. It's just going to be a printout, printed on those, the name and obviously the post number, and then that's just going to be kind of dropped down over that. I was trying to figure out how I was going to do that. If I was actually going to hang a sign, kind of like a kick me sign, but that proved that it was going to that looked like it was going to be a little bit more difficult. As far as them possibly blowing around or blowing off or whatever. So what I'm going to be doing is actually collaring each one with the label that the people give me the names for. Anybody out in the chat? Anybody got any questions as to the performance of this test? Because I want to make sure that I address things and hear this. Let's see. Now I had seen a couple. Let me scroll up a little bit here.
And I'm gonna throw this out there because you've actually added in parts of the test that are absolutely retarded because flat earthers. So yeah, any suggestions that Sly could use, hand them to him.
Could you please state the test hypothesis? The hypothesis. Okay. The hypothesis of this test is that water bends. Observations. Let's round off the top of the scientific method here. The observations is that things disappear over the horizon from the bottom up. The assumption that one could make from that is because it would have to be a curved surface. However, the thing that gets in the way every time is the horizon itself. The purpose of this test is to test the hypothesis. If I make a cross section of water, which is what ultimately this is going to be, albeit broken up into 17 pieces, but by making a cross section of water and then watching and that would eliminate the horizon itself, and then we would be able to see if water in fact does go back down at the after the halfway point. So that is the hypothesis that I will be testing. Will water go back down after the halfway point and show curvature beyond what we would normally consider to be the obstruction caused by the horizon? Horizon is at eye level, Sly. Yeah, sure it is. I don't know how many times you need to be shown that it's not.
Let's see. I've done it. Red's done it. I'm sure once you get a location you can actually get to where you can see far away because no mountains.
Shit. All I did, I took the world record picture, and he's looking down at the horizon. I mean, it was pretty much simple after that. So let's see here. Come on, anybody who's got any questions here? Hulk Hogan, rip your shirt off at the end of this video. No, but I do have an idea for the closing of the video, Rick, and I think you guys are going to like it. Let's see here. Truth Seeker. The ocean. Oh, jeez. The oceans are at level and Earth is not spinning or curving. Thank you for your input, Truth Seeker. It's always nice to hear your rationale of things. How's that drone footage going, by the way? Let's see here. Let's see. But I have to say it's nice to see that your recovery efforts are actually going, because I haven't seen you use the word assumption in a while. Let's see. Post 16. Okay, that was that. Am I taking a push bike? Actually, I have two of those little 2-wheel scooters, and as far as the ones with the tall handlebars and glorified skateboard. And I also have a cart that I got, and I finally found an Aldi that had it, which is normally used for storing your winter tires. It's a cart with an upright pole in the middle of it, and I'm going to use that as transporting the pipes, because while they're not too heavy to the car, it is going to be a bit much to be asking people to drag those things out a kilometer away. And so I'm going to be using a cart that I got at Aldi for that. So that should help that out. The 2-wheel scooters are going to be for when positions need to be changed quickly. Let's see. You could take every precaution. You could make it the most trustworthy experiment ever. It won't matter. That's how conspiracy theorists work. Flat earthers are the same as 9/11 truthers. Yeah. So, as I'm scrolling up, in case anybody's posting any questions down here at the bottom, Antonio proved that the horizon is not at eye level via critical think red tube. Not aware of that, but I wouldn't doubt it. But he probably denied it at the same time. So,
okay, I'll explain this to you just as a quick summary.
Okay.
Antonio Subrats proposed an experiment for globe earthers to prove the horizon is below eye level by using a meter-long tube that's very skinny.
And spaghetti?
I'm sure you can put spaghetti in there if you wanted to.
Damn.
Okay. And then line that up with the horizon.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the other side of the tube. You have to have a view of water on either side. So it's location restrictive, but it can be done. Then line it up to where the horizon is in the center of the tube from one direction. Go to the other side of the tube and look through that and see if you're seeing sky, water, or the horizon through the tube. And Critical Think actually went and did that and showed that the horizon is definitely below the tube when you're looking at the other end of it.
Well, I have footage. I went out to Donnersberg a while back. You've seen these pictures. I went out to Donnersberg a while back, and looking in two directions. Donnersberg, the portion where I was at is a place called the Adlerbogen, which is it's a kind of a memorial, something having to do with an older war, I think in World War I or something. And it's up on the side of a mountain.
You're talking about Donnersberg, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And the Adlerbogen, and it's about 500 meters above sea level, or 540 meters above sea level. Anyway. And what I did was I took a water level out there, and by way of 2 cut-in-half soda bottles and then a tube connecting the two of them, and then sitting on tripods. And I had viewed out to from that location. I could see all the way out to Große Feldberg, which is another about 350 meters higher than where I was standing. And guess what? It was the peak of that mountain was lower than the water level. Looking in the opposite direction, there's another mountain. It starts with a K, and for the life of me, I can't remember what it is, but it was only about 30 Ks away, and it was at, I think, about another 100 meters higher than the place that I was at, and it too was below the water level in the opposite direction. Remember I was telling you about the 6680 test? The 6680 test was 600 meters, and 80 kilometers, and which is basically where that was coming from. But this test actually got in the way of what I was showing there. And I even found a location that Oakley and the boys could do with the Isle of Man. And I mean, they could honestly do this test 100% by themselves and see what the results would be. Now, I understand that they won't accept the results, but if one of them would like to hear about it, you make sure you give me a ring or post under my video or whatever, because I have found 2 locations around St. Bees that you can actually do this test. It might require a little bit of walking because it doesn't look like there's some roads going up to the top of these hills. But they are.
Anthony.
Was that?
That rules out Anthony.
Yeah.
We don't want to kill anybody for a test.
Yeah, right. But what do you call it? And plus, he can't lay on his belly. So nevertheless, yeah, you could do that as well. And they can actually verify the results themselves. Because seeing that we're looking for repeatability and people need to be sending stuff to other people, which nobody has ever sent shit to me to verify their tests. So, we'll just kind of, or even offered for that matter. So let's see. Any other questions about the actual bending water test? Any other recommendations, requests? And oh my God, the next time somebody says to me something about refraction without giving me some kind of data to work with, I'm gonna lose more hair, because I don't mind the critiques. I don't mind when people come to me and have things that I need to be concerned about and saying that, there may be even some showstoppers on the test, but you have to provide me the data so I know what to work with. It's not a matter of just coming to me, like stupid Bob and stupid PW saying, oh, perspective. You got to give me the numbers that I need to be dealing with so I know what to look for. And so I can actually compensate for that, or at least show where that is affecting the test.
Simply put, just don't be a naysayer because you want to look smart. Be a naysayer with data to support your assertion.
There's a difference between criticism and constructive criticism. If you want to turn around and tell me, no, man, I did something like this, and you know what, using orange microphone heads at the top here is actually going to mess with your test, you need to show me how that works. You know what I mean? It's not a matter of me not accepting. People give me shit about Rumpus, and all this other stuff. And what I have repeatedly asked for, and the reason why I'm basically fed up with him, and what I have repeatedly asked for is I need to know what it is that I am looking to expect, because obviously you're coming to me with something. I need to know what it is that I need to be expecting so I can either compensate for it or I can actually figure it into the results to try and find out if that makes a difference on the results, et cetera, et cetera. It's not a matter of me just not digging what you're saying because I'm going to do the test anyway, because I'm going to do the test anyway. So you could perform the inside of a vacuum chamber to eliminate refraction. Yeah, Rick, give me a 1,700 meter vacuum chamber. Cool.
Lego.
Yeah, Lego.
USB power bank to charge the P1000. As far as I'm aware, that doesn't work, dude. There is no external charging capability, as far as I'm aware, to the P1000.
Does it have like a standard micro USB connection or anything?
Well, it's got USB connections, but for outputs, not for charging. The battery is actually removed and placed onto a charger. What do you call it? So, I mean, because I would love to do that, then I would film all the stuff with it. But there are steroid packs, like larger capacity batteries. There's also this extender thing that comes out of the bottom that costs like $150. I wasn't trying to go all those routes.
I'm sure somebody's made a power supply that actually hooks into replaces the place where you plug the battery in.
That's what I'm talking about. But those power supplies, at least the ones that I have seen, don't get me wrong, I'm open to be wrong. The ones that I've seen are all the ones that people would use for like in a studio, where they can use the camera for whatever reason, using hot voltage from the wall. And yes, they do have these ones. It's basically it's a replacement for the battery pack, and it's got a little adapter on there, and then it cables out. So, but those only go to the wall. At least the ones that I've seen. Now, if somebody's got something else, man, link it to me, and if it's still within. Here's another critique that I often get, that apparently, including PW thought that the only reason why I had the fundraiser was to buy the camera. Let me put this to you right now. With all the stuff that I have spent, to include the gas money going out 3 times to this location to test it, with all the money that's been spent on this thing, First of all, the end result of what I'm getting from Indiegogo, even though it says $3,400, after they take their cuts and all this other stuff, I'm actually getting just above 3,000, as in 3,000. I think it was $34. Okay, of that, up to this point, and I haven't even bought lunch for everybody yet. What do you go? Up to this point, I have spent $2,700. Okay, so this was not a cash and grab, I'm just going to get paid. No, it's not. Okay, if I come out on plus, I'll probably come out about 50 euros high. So hooray me. Okay, sue me. But other than that, that's all the money that I had to, these, let me just put this picture in place here. Now the sponge things, I bought a pack of them. They're actually for karaoke mics. That's why they're all funny colors. That was only like I think it was like $19 or something like that. These rods, these individual rods, each one of those cost 395 euros. So multiply that by 17. That's the other problem. Every one thing that I've had to do it 17 times. So what do you call it? And even the pipes that you see here, okay, even the pieces of pipe that you see here, and there's a little bit more of that roll because I saved €1.50 by not buying a cut roll. This roll right here costs about 50 euros, I think. Okay, so all this stuff adds up, man. And what do you call it? So then you got the camera, then you got the pump, then you got the clips, and you got all this other crap. I got an entire list of stuff that I've had to purchase for this. And so it came out to about $2,700. And that's not even going out there and actually doing the test. And also, as I promised, lunch for the folks that are out there. So that's probably going to, like I said, that's probably going to leave me the better part of about 50 euros after this. So yay me, look at me getting rich off this. And I don't even get to keep the camera. So let's just understand this, man. I don't even get to keep the camera. So it's so I'm not exactly making out like a fat rat on this. Now, I might get a couple of bucks out of the video, depending on how many times it gets watched. I am going to do my standard one ad at the beginning monetization, like just about everybody else does. I don't have Patreon. I don't have PayPal and stuff like that. Brainery, thank you. I really appreciate that. I love to have 50 secs. And what do you call it? So
you're married, right?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so you have the option of getting sex. So,
but so putting all this together, it's taken a lot of time, and I haven't. So $50 for my probably about month and a half worth of labor on this. Yeah, I'm not really making out like a fat rat on this. So all those discussions about cash and grab and scam and all this other stuff. Yeah, I'm going to build these things because I'm scamming folks. You know what I mean? I'm going to fill my car up with plastic tubes because I'm scamming folks. Come on, y'all. Really?
If the cops stop you on the way over here and with all the equipment you have in your trunk, they think you're starting a meth lab or something.
I should get like a little bag of weed or something like that. Just call it the world's longest bong or something.
Oh, you'll definitely get more gal then.
Mm-hmm. Shit, he'll probably show up. But what? Gays join? Who the fuck are you? Gays join the military. So? Just because you're gay doesn't mean you can't shoot a rifle. Who is this? Ranty Flat Earth wanted dialogue, but you blocked him. Ranty Flat Earth is not blocked on my channel, you ignorant moron.
You have to keep in mind, Ranty's the type that has actually gone through his live chat and says, oh, look, a Glober block. Oh, look, a Glober block. He's actually held Hangouts doing just that.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. You will need independent witnesses. Gee, That's why it's being performed and let everybody know about it. Who is this? Who is this? Hold on a second. Go to channel. Let's find. Oh, I always love talking to these people. Go to channel. There's nothing on the channel, but he's got 2 subscribers. Who is this putz? When did he start his account? Started the account October 3rd. So that's a pretty young account. What is your primary account? Varsha? Varshaz? Who's your primary account? Because I've come to notice that people with young accounts, they're actually somebody else just made an account to come over here so they could talk smack
and not have any repercussions.
Right. So who's your primary account? Varshas? Tell you what, I love doing this. I will give you 2 minutes to say who your primary account is before I just run you off here, because obviously you're not providing anything and you're not giving the world anything by not showing. Well, you got no material, so what the hell do you have? My primary account is classified. Okay, well, guess what?
Wait, stop.
What?
Before you kick him, there is not a account called classified.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, so that's actually an incorrect answer.
Yeah, but what if it is?
Well, I'm sure somebody has an account named classified, just whether or not it's his account. That's another story.
Let's see. I don't know how Refraction well enough to tell you what to expect, but maybe contact Mick West from Metabunk. He has a calculator. Yes, I've used the calculators on there, but they were a little bit... the distance that I'm doing this over is not very large compared to the effects that you would see on him and who's the other guy, Walter, on the calculators that they produced. So unfortunately, there wasn't a lot that I could use there. I tried, I wanted to, but there wasn't a lot that I could use there. Let's see here. Someone asks a question and they get their account checked and blocked. And you're talking about Ranty White. No, what I'm saying is that this is a nobody account coming here just to talk shit. Ranty's not blocked on my channel. Okay, but using Ranty as an example, while Ranty has made videos of him blocking people deliberately, that's a little bit hypocritical. So, lying philosophical intellectual thinker, you might want to rethink that sentence. So, I guess Varsha is not going to tell me what their actual account is.
Wait, stop. Give him 10 more seconds since there's a delay between the live stream and Hangout.
Man, you're awfully generous for a German.
It's not about generosity, it's about accuracy.
Ja, aber Applausfrist.
Yeah, that's true.
There we go.
Did you just say papers, please?
No. No, I said termination times.
Ihren Flugschein, bitte.
Yeah. Yeah, ask Bob for that. All right, so calling me a hypocrite. Oh, shit. Well, thanks, Playtime. Playtime, all right. Well, Playtime put him in timeout, so we'll see if that does anything. It usually doesn't. But so that was the point I was making on that there. Lying philosophical intellectual thinker. Wow, that's a absolutely beautiful channel name. And so that's everything I got on the test. I don't see any. Did I miss any questions?
I don't have chat open, so I couldn't tell you.
Any relative questions? I mean, let's see. When the airport security guy asks you if you have the guns, the right answer is, what do you need? Okay. All right. So Sly isn't reading my comments. He could have saved money on the hooks. Terry. I did save money on the hooks. Those are coat hangers, man. I didn't save my knuckles, though, which kind of sucked. Because bending those things with needle nose pliers was kind of a pain in the ass. But
that's just the case because you don't probably have a good set of pliers.
Oh, I got a good set of pliers. It just sucks bending those things. Let's see. Why do flyers say north, south, east, and west rather than hubward, rimward, turnwise, and
Wither?
I don't know.
What?
That's kind of cool. Let's see. Will you be measuring a few temperature profiles vertically just to be safe of refraction? Well, temperature is not really going to change very much along the short 15 centimeters that I have on there. But I will be doing temperature readings at each one of the posts. So please tell me you are drawing a face on the socks. Those aren't socks, man. Those are karaoke microphone sponges. I had somebody tell me that they look like clown matchsticks. Discworld reference. Okay. So, any other? Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Hello, Sly. I'm assuming that you are from Germany. I'm not from Germany, but I live here. I might as well be the same thing at this point.
How long you been there?
I've been here about 25 years. Let's see. Did you think about making your experiments along the Rhine with concrete poles every 100? Yeah. No, I didn't consider that.
Is there a stretch on the Rhine somewhere that's straight enough to do this?
I am unaware, but after the rather
further up,
the rather disturbing phone call that I had with the German equivalent of the Port Authority over here about wanting to do a laser test down the Rhine because I have a 9-kilometer stretch. They said, sure, if you want to pay for stopping any and all traffic for safety reasons along the Rhine. I don't need to tell people how much money that would cost.
More than your fundraiser.
Oh, more than just about all Flat Earth fundraisers combined.
On the other hand, Sly, you could maybe just drive a few kilometers south of where you are and ask the French to do it on their side.
There you go.
Would that be the Trump version of the test?
Yeah. I got a no here, so I'm going to go over there.
Oh, we're going to prove that the Earth is round, but we're going to make them pay for it.
Yep. Pay for it. Is any flat earther going to test with you? Okay, this question has been asked over and over and over again, or at least various forms, and my answer still remains the same. I will be posting the date. Everybody will get the same amount of warning as I do. Primarily has to do with weather, and German weather is almost impossible to predict beyond a couple of days, especially in the springtime. So my thing is, everybody who wants to come to the test is invited. I hold nobody back. I have issued a warning to Riley because it's going to be difficult for me to hold back certain schoolyard impulses.
Don't worry, I'll make sure that you guys are at least 20 meters apart all the time because I don't want to see a fisting fight there.
Yeah, but a fisting fight? Did you say a fisting fight, Gio?
Yeah, isn't that what it's called?
No.
That is so not the way to put that. Okay, I'll give this to you in German so you understand it. Okay, a fist fight is also Schlagen mit den Fäusten.
Okay.
Fisting fight ist ein bisschen eher pornomäßig.
Oh, okay. I got it.
Verstehst du jetzt?
That's
Okay.
also one of them means, yeah, I get it, I think.
The words Sly, Riley, and fisting don't belong in the same sentence.
No.
A similar mistake once when I was talking about beating off a dead horse.
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
But
Okay, my mistake. But anyway, I'll make sure that won't happen either.
big purple fisting. But nevertheless, that's
Big purple
everybody's
pistings
invited
come
to
from
my
Thanos.
test, and everybody will have the same notification as everybody else. Now, having said that, if no flat earthers show up to my test, the test will still happen. Okay, I do not put the requirement that a flat earther be at my test, as much as I would like it to be. And like I said, identify yourself as a flat earther when you come there. You'll get no ill will from me. As a matter of fact, I'm going to want you with me the entire test, because I want your input. I want your questions. So you can't walk away from it saying that, Sly ignored my questions and the things that I had to say, unless obviously you get annoying. But because we all saw the pack mentality of the flat earthers at the IIG/Nat Geo test at Salton Sea. That was embarrassing, but they all considered it a win, which I think is funny. So whoever wants to show up to my test, and I've already had like about 5-6 people already saying, just let me know. One of them got pissed because I'm not doing it in Bingen because it's actually closer to where he's at. And I told him, well, it's actually closer to where I'm at too, but we found a better location. So the test is still going to happen whether one shows up or not, but nobody is getting any special treatment to say that the test will not happen if let's just say, for example, if Jaron doesn't show up, the test won't happen. I don't give a shit.
Jaron, why should Jaron show up?
Well, that's true. He's not getting paid.
Yeah, Jaron and canals don't work well together, apparently.
Nah, they don't.
Can you guys imagine Jaron being in a country where he doesn't speak the language?
That would be interesting.
I would actually pay to see that.
Let's see. I'm not a flurf. I would love to. No, that wasn't me biting back at you, dude. That was just me. I've answered that question a lot of times, and I just wanted to be really clear with it. That's all. Nothing negative meant. There are people who said also that I should pack up the entire test and send it to other people, which is not going to happen. Now, if somebody wants all these pipes after I'm done, and I'm only going to give a short window of time, because if not, I'm going to use them for irrigation in my garden. If somebody wants all these pipes when I'm done, yeah. If you want to pay the shipping, I will send them to you. I won't charge any money for them, but you'll pay the shipping. And you can have them. Just gets them out of my face. Camera, obviously, you're not going to get, because that's promised to one of the people who contributed to the test. Many bits of the equipment that are going to be used during the test, like tablets and stuff like that, they're actually my stuff. So basically, the only thing that you're going to come out with this is, and obviously, I'm not going to send you a pizza. So, and I'm not going to send you gas money. So ultimately, what's going to come out of this is just basically the test setup itself. And if you want it, knock it out, and just give me a shipping. Well, we'll coordinate some the method of shipping. Let's see. Will Bilu be coming to the test? I don't know. You might be scared that German language is a little bit different than Portuguese. So let's see. Do we get the water? I'm pretty sure that there's actually there's a tariff involved with transporting water across borders. So yeah, I don't think I'd be able to send the water with you. Let's see. Okay, so that's basically all that I got on here. I'm not seeing any actual questions for the test.
Do we have any fluffs living around here?
I'm not aware.
I am not aware of.
But unfortunately, that's because of the fact that I don't watch any German flat Earth channels. But they obviously exist. So
yeah, well, I know of one, but that one's Austrian, so that doesn't count.
Yeah, Sly will have the most thoroughly irrigated garden in Europe. Yeah, but
the Romans would be proud.
Mm-hmm. That'll be. I should make a video about that. Let's see. Yes, I will freeze dry the water so you can add water when it gets to your location. You're showing your age, by the way, there, Demon, because that's a That's a Stephen Wright joke. Some people might know that. Let's see. Are you going to be okay? Gary, you came in a little bit late. But no, there will not be a live stream because, well, there is not currently a plan in place for a live stream unless Geo can get this LAN party apparatus thingy that he put together to
let me work my magic there.
Yeah, to actually show up at the location. But as far as, straight up with a mobile phone or something like that, that is not going to happen, unfortunately. So, yeah. Yes. Okay. Yeah. But anyway, so that's about all I got, guys. And sorry, Home6 just gave me the eye, so got to roll. And but that's how all this is going to play out. And if you have any further questions, you can put them below this video. And what do you call it? And that's basically all I got. So, Sean, Gio, you got anything?
Nope.
No.
All right. Well, then I appreciate you guys stopping by, and everybody else who's watching. Thanks for stopping by, and and so I look forward to a day where I can actually perform this test. So, no, it's not Halusha, it's Halushin. That's a nice way of saying hello to a friendly person.
That's what he was talking about.
Yeah.
Fox. Okay, I was trying to identify that one as well because it doesn't look like.
Yeah. All right. So, ladies and gents, and no, I'm not putting dye in the water, and no, I'm not putting LEDs in the water. Sorry, can't do it. Well, the dye part I can't do, and the LEDs, the smallest ones I found, don't fit in the tubes. So, unfortunately, that's where that ends as well. All right. So, ladies and gents, I got to get going, and I look forward to
actually, Sly.
What
idea? You will have your laser there, right? You know what happens when you actually fire a laser at a pipe that has water that's clear, right?
Kind of illuminates the water.
Exactly. People begging for LEDs. Obviously, it's a logistical nightmare to get one power to place them where they'll likely illuminate the entire pipe. But the laser will do a wonderful job if you shine it like at each pole individually.
Well, I'll see what I can do about that. I have to actually see that in practice. In theory, I understand what you mean.
It's just an idea.
Yeah, I'd have to see what that looks like in practice. So, but anyway, ladies and gents, I got to get, and I appreciate all y'all stopping by. Okay, y'all have yourselves a great rest of your day.